So I got Altoz out for you guys, and today we've got a brush cutting deck that's 66 inch, and then we've got a normal 61 inch deck. And Aaron has brought these out from Southeastern Outdoor Power Equipment. They're a really big dealer with quite a few different brands that you guys are looking for. You can see all the names up top. Really appreciative for him bringing these out. So if you guys are looking for any of these units, you guys can see the phone number there. You can get a hold of him for demos, loaners, things like that. We're going to run these in some different tests and things like that, but I'll give you guys a walk around so you can kind of see each mower. Now, this runs the ZT5400 hydros and is running the biggest Kawasaki motor EFI with 38.5 horse. I really like that motor. And then over here, this is more of a finish cut like I was talking about in the deck size, and it still has the tracks. Now they have several different tracked units. Kind of show you guys the tracks on it. This is a newer unit, or hasn't been used as much. And then this has a FX 850V, and you can see the tracks on this one. And I'm going to let Aaron give you guys a rundown on it because he knows more than I do.
Okay, so the 766i is the biggest tracked mower that Altoz makes. There's actually three different models. There's a 354, and then the 561, and then the 766. The 766 is available in this all-terrain deck that is essentially like a bush hog deck. You've got the chain guards in the front. You've got the swinging blades. Those blades can be swapped out for a fixed blade to give more of a finished cut. You're still not going to mow quite like a regular finished deck, but you will get an improved cut over the bush hog style blades. And then this deck can be swapped out for a true finished cut deck if you have a lot of steep hillsides, but you strictly need a good finish mow, a good finished product. And you can swap the deck back and forth about 20 minutes, and you can change from the all-terrain deck over to a finished cut deck, so you can have one machine to do both jobs. You do have cast iron spindles on the unit. It's rated to cut up to 1.5 inch diameter brush and saplings. It's a 7-gauge deck. Your side plates are removable, so if you bend that or mess it up, you can remove it. And on the other side where that plate is removable, that's so that you can actually put a deck extension on there and get an extra 16 inches of cutting width. So that's a real favorite among solar panel companies, so that they can reach up under those solar panels and around ponds, things like that. It really cuts down on the trimming, and you can fold that wing up, and you don't have to have the wing down. So yeah, it takes about 45 minutes or something, or an hour to install or to take off that kit if you don't want it on there. Obviously, one of the biggest things here is the tracks. Nobody else in the industry is offering this right now. This unit has the TerraFlex track. That's a new style track for the past couple of years. You may hear occasionally people complain of some delamination issues on the older style tracks. That has been corrected with this TerraFlex style track, and this track performs kind of the best of both worlds. It's giving you a good off-road and aggressive performance, but it's not going to absolutely destroy your lawn either if you get those tracks on a finished cut deck. Now, alternatively, you can do a true turf track that's a more straight bar design, right, and a lot softer on turf. Is that what you were going to ask about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. On the 2025 model, a couple of changes if you've looked at or been familiar with the older style. If you look at the 561 over there, you see that front end style for the front arms coming out to the spindles. Yep. And then you look at, that's how the old style 766s looked. They've beefed up this front end and made it even stronger than the older style front end. So the front end is one of the changes, just being beefed up and stronger over the 2024 style. One of the other changes is you cannot, some people love this, some people hate it, but you can no longer mow in high side. So you've got the 5400 Hydra gears with the 2-speed. Now the 2-speed, you just pull that lever there, and now the 2-speed is only for travel. Cuts down on wear and tear. If you've got employees running it and things, then they're not going to be in too rough of conditions trying to mow really overgrown stuff in that high side. So going to give you a little less wear and tear on the unit that way. Your floor pan just raises right up for access underneath of there.
You got some big pulleys under there.
Yeah, big pulleys. I mean, really, really strong setup. You got the gas shock there also on your idler to soften your when it engages.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen a gas shock on many of them.
Yeah.
I've seen this.
Yep, absolutely. And then your other rod here, this pedal is actually to release the deck. So you push on this one and then this one to release and let the deck drop. Now with this all-terrain deck, you can mow from 3 inches all the way up to 7 inches. You can actually cut at 7 inches, and so if you're in really thick, overgrown stuff, you can minimize the bogging. And you know, a lot of people, especially doing these solar fields that are only getting mowed, you know, maybe 2, 3, 4 times a year, and a lot of farmers, you know, aren't as worried about the finished cut appearance. If it looks like a bush hog mowed it, that's fine. So you can set that thing up there taller and just hammer down.
Right.
You do have dual 7-gallon fuel tanks on this model, and there's a switching valve on this one, so you do have to switch back and forth from one side to the other. Again, it is the FX1000 EFI, 38.5 horsepower. And the tracks, one other thing I want to point out, your front end is on this Torque Flex cushioned for your front casters, and then the back is also on a torsion system. So your rear of you're on torsion all the way around.
I noticed on the 25, it's got 2 bolts, where the 24 has 1 bolt, and it doesn't have that bolt in the back.
Yep.
And I'm guessing that's for more stability in case that kicks back.
Yeah.
Because that one there has it on there.
This slot in here is elongated to allow that travel, but then it reduces the overextension of it there.
Right.
Then you've also got on the track tension. A lot of people say, well, how do you adjust the tracks? And so there's actually a set of shims. If you can get the camera down here underneath, you've got a set of shims that go in here, and you just loosen your bolts front and rear. And then these bolts are in elongated holes, and so you loosen those.
And shift it.
Yeah, and then you just shim that track to adjust your track tension. Actually, this one's been demoed enough that it's due a little bit of tightening on these tracks. It's been in some pretty severe terrain. And then to remove the tracks after you loosen them, you've just got this ring of bolts here on your sprocket, and then that way that sprocket comes off, and then you can just drop the track right off of there. It's about a 1-hour job for one man to do the tracks on both sides, a full replacement.
What is the normal wear on the sprockets and things like that? Like, how many hours are you seeing people get out of this in rough use?
Mm-hmm. The sprocket we don't really see much wear out of.
This is a sprocket, guys.
Yeah. The sprockets and the idlers, we don't see a massive amount of wear out of. Really, the main complaint that you hear is, if somebody does have, track wear, and that, just like a skid steer or anything else with tracks, that's as much about the operator as it is about anything.
Right, just keeping that cleaned out.
Keeping it cleaned out, unlike mine is right now. Yeah. and keeping the proper tension on them so that your sprocket, as it rotates, so that it's coming into the hole at the correct place and not wearing the track out. And, right down to how you turn. If you're on a bunch of riprap, if you're mowing roadsides and you're getting down and wallowing around in concrete drain ditches, all those things are obviously going to wear that track prematurely. But, I've seen guys, and I've had operators that worked for me before that could wear out a set of Bobcat tracks in 300 hours, and I've had them that could go 1,500 hours on a set of tracks. So it really is largely dependent on the terrain and the operator.
Now, to me, that track looks like it would do better in turf than that track. That track looks way more aggressive to me. than this one does. And it's wild that that's on the littler unit with the finish mower. But as far as this mower in comparison to this one, now this one you can get a couple of different deck sizes in, like he was talking about, and you can get it
just deck styles. This is 66 only, but you can get it in
rough cut or
yeah, that's 66 and the 766i. It's 66-inch, but it's either finish cut or all-terrain deck.
So if you guys are looking for a 66-inch cut mower, you can get that in a finished deck.
Yep.
Now on this one, what is the fuel tank size on it? Same thing?
Yes.
Okay, so all of them are 7 and 7 on each side. They're basically kind of the same unit, just different setup and how the tracks and all that stuff is.
Yeah, well, now you are a shorter, more compact frame on this 561. Yeah, it is going to be all around a lighter and smaller unit.
And these can flex like this back and forth.
Yep.
Like this can tilt.
Yep.
So it should give you a pretty good ride.
It actually does. A lot of people say, man, I bet that thing beats you to death. And I've had people get on it and mow it that were used to mowing with, you know, just an X mark or anything with no suspension platform or anything like that. And they're amazed at how well they actually do ride and how stable they are.
Yeah.
You will get more on concrete and on hard surfaces.
Chatter.
Well, yeah, and more just kind of a little shake to it.
Right.
But when you're on rough terrain, it actually absorbs the bumps a lot better than you would expect.
Yeah. Now this one has 13-inch front tires.
Yep.
And that one has 15. And I'm guessing both of these are sealed like non-pneumatic tires.
Yep. Yep.
I wouldn't figure they would put a pneumatic tire on something like that. Is there anything else as far as like the baffling, or are you able to move any of the baffling or anything down on some of these mowers?
So
you can.
The baffling is non-adjustable.
Well, this one's actually adjustable.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
This front deck it has an adjustable baffle here, so you guys can lower it and raise it for a better cut. If you're cutting really high, you're going to want to drop this all the way down like it is, and if you're cutting shorter, you'll want to raise it up. But you can see up under there.
Yep. And then your deflector, I've got it off of this unit right now, but your deflector is extremely easy to take on and off just with this rod.
Right.
And then these units Altoz is very supportive with accessories, you know, as far as mulching kits or baggers, things like that. So they come already drilled for those accessories. And they actually, people run a pretty good number of baggers on these units.
Really? Yep. Now, does a bagger mount up in the back, and then you've got like a wind tunnel thing on the front of there
correct.
That pulls it through? That's about how all of them are set up, so I just figured that's how it was. Okay, well, if you guys have any more questions about this unit, like I said, link it below. We're going to do a few more videos on this and showcase some of the cuts and things like that. Is there anything else that you...
I'll just point out this unit is the Hydrogear 4400 transaxles and is non-2-speed on the 561. And then you're an FX 850 EFI on this unit. And of course, Altoz does have a full line of tire mowers as well. If somebody wants to run a matching fleet or something like that, and they're built just as well as these are. But our main unit that we see people want, and the one I'm most familiar with and have the most demand for, if they're wanting a track unit, they're wanting this all-terrain deck the majority of the time because they're doing extremely harsh, rough terrain stuff. And you do have an 1.5 inch cutting capacity. I don't know if we mentioned that earlier. I know we did when we were talking, but I can't remember if we got that in the video or not. But you are an 1.5 inch cutting capacity. And, we've had this thing in briars literally as tall as the roll bar on it. And, it performs extremely well.
They've got grease fittings on their front spindle. A lot of companies don't do that. And then all the other U-joints and everything and the little slip parts, they have, you can see there's your grease fitting in there. And then up and under the seat is your battery and your adjustment for your deck and things like that. I'll show you the panel here so you can see. It's got manual fuel gauges.
Yep, this unit does. Now, the 2024s had the keypad,
right?
The 561, and you'll see that that keypad with the security code and no key.
And they went away from this?
Yep.
Okay.
On the 766.
Okay, so just on this one they went away from it. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. We got some more coming.